All right, let's look at uh, a 92 mile per hour flat ground pitch and uh, and break it down and see exactly what's going on. How does he produce this much momentum and energy going forward? And then let's compare it to mine, which was 87. And I mean, 5 miles per hour at these numbers is very substantial. Uh, and the crazy thing is, like, if you would have told me I was going to throw 87 miles per hour and I got an 88 last week from a flat ground, yeah, I'd be pumped about it, because that's an easy 90 plus on the mound. So let's just look at how this energy is produced and understand too. I'm going to compare Evan and myself. We do not produce energy in the same exact way. I don't expect Evan to throw the same way that I throw, or vice versa. But there are certain principles, there are certain things that, timing aspects that need to be very similar, and that's what we're going to compare. The timing aspects of certain components of the body, and then certain positions too. So let's just start here. One thing that Evan and I have talked about, and he's worked on a lot, is staying more connected with the back leg. We looked at some video from last year, and his back foot would slide or glide into front foot strike, and that's wasted energy, wasted momentum. Whereas now, I mean, he rides that back leg well. See how the back knee stays over back foot as he begins his descent into front foot strike, and then everything internally rotates the last minute on the back leg. But then the next big thing is looking at what happens at front foot strike, which is right. It's hard to drag this thing and stop it. Right there. Okay. So this is front foot strike, and look at the amount of hip shoulder separation he's created. Look at the angle of his shoulders. And this is one big difference, a huge difference in what mine looks like and what Evan's looks like. So, two big things here. A, his back hip has not fired through yet, which is a good thing. The more energy you can have rotating around that front leg, the faster you're going to throw. So once that front leg stabilizes, the more momentum, the more energy you can have rotate around it, the faster you're going to throw. So it's a good thing the back hip is not fired through yet. Then you also still have that separation, the difference in the angles of the hips and the shoulders. So here he rotates around the front foot, back hip fires through after the front leg stabilizes, and all that leads to a very nice front leg lock. See how the front leg stabilizes and locks out as the throwing arm comes through, which is optimal timing. I mean, this is elite stuff here. So he creates the separation, hips and shoulders, different angles. Front foot lands, back hip is not fired through yet, and then everything just comes through. Rubber band effect in full force. I'll play this. Play it in slow motion once, and I'll play it in full speed. Now let's speed it up. Very snappy. Now let's look at. I'll eat some humble pie here, and we'll look at my flat ground throw. Like I said, 87 is not bad for a flat ground. But let's go ahead and, well, what back knee? This is something I have worked on. It's gotten better. I stay on the back leg longer, back knee over back foot. I mean, that's a good loaded position. I talk to guys about, when you squat, when you lift weights and you squat, what's the most powerful position to drive from? And you want to replicate that at the beginning of your delivery. That's your power position. So I keep that very well. I ride the slope nicely. But then when I get into front foot strike, which is right here, not there. Everything happens so fast at this point in the delivery, it's hard to get it just right. So there's front foot strike. And you can see my shoulder's not nearly as closed off as Evan. And a big reason why I think I have to play around with this some, but my front arm. So your arms should be on time with each other. They should be almost like a mirror image of each other. And my front arm pulls off way too early. And I think that might be a reason why my top half's coming through too soon. So once again, front foot's down. I've already lost a lot of hip shoulder separation here. And my back leg too. I'm not, if you look, there's more of a straight line between back foot and back hip. There's not as much flexion as what Evan was able to create, which means I'm getting off of that back leg a little too soon. I need to hold my load. It sounds weird to say. Hold load in that back leg a little bit better in the front foot strike. But I'll let this play full speed too. Look at my throwing arm. That's another telltale thing. The throwing arm is up and back, but you don't want it to be completely. What's the way I'm looking to say this? You don't want that throwing arm to be completely vertical or perpendicular with the ground when the front foot hits. And let me go back to Evan again, and I'll show you where you want it to be. So his front foot lands. See how his throwing arm, it's not completely vertical. It's not straight up and down. It's not perpendicular with the ground. And this is going to create for a more efficient arm path from this position. Whereas my throwing arm winch is right there. And I'll keep going back to this. You want as much energy and momentum as you can to rotate around that front leg. So the more energy you have conserved and loaded when that front foot hits the ground, the better off you are. And the more efficient that rubber band effect is going to be. So now I'll let this play in full speed. Yeah. So not bad, but nothing compared to.
Yep. Yeah. 92.
So hopefully some of that makes sense.